Hello, hello. I've tried to make this video a few times, and I keep getting myself I'll start trying to show you the load board, and I'll just spend like an hour just looking at stuff, and I'll just kind of like be giving random thoughts while I'm looking through and comparing rates on various places and all kinds of stuff. So I'm going to try to avoid doing that and just talk about what's going on. Um, I'm taking like 10 days off. That wasn't the initial plan. I tried to grab a load, and I was only going to do like a 34 at home. And the load that I tried to get, somebody else got it before me out of Kansas City. It was going to Sanger, Texas, I think. And once I got home, I was just worn out. And I had been planning on taking a week off whenever I transitioned over to an owner-operator. And I just decided to go ahead and do it. I was hoping to do it before I became an owner-operator. I was going to quit as a company driver, take a week off, and then become an owner-operator. But the way things lined up, I needed to go and get the truck before I took the time off and stuff. But I went ahead and took the week off. It's Friday, 12:11 a.m. It's technically Saturday right now. It's 11 minutes into Saturday. I went ahead and picked up a load, as you can see up here at the top. Let me refresh this page. I actually have that load right now. And current loads and pre-plans. So it's not showing as a load request anymore. That load doesn't pick up until basically Tuesday. And so I have until Tuesday. I'm going to be home until Tuesday. I have a list of crap that I need to get done that I'm working on. Now this is information about the load. Up here is my list of crap. But I haven't done anything. I have been slacking. I've been getting a lot of phone calls from a whole bunch of business related stuff, the tax service, the fuel card people. USA Truck has been they've been calling me they called me twice, I think, wanting to know when I'm going to come back and start pulling loads. They actually put me into what they called a Z status. They basically put me in some kind of terminated status. Not because it had to do with me taking so much time off, but the reason they put me in that status, they said that they put drivers in that status so that it doesn't negatively impact the driver manager's metrics. So if you're going to be taking more than 7 days off, they will put you into a Z status so that you stop affecting your driver manager's metrics. So I had to call them, get them to take me back out of that status because I couldn't pull a load or anything. Today was my 7th day, and they put me into Z status today, and I was trying to find a load today. Anyway, they got me out of that, and I was able to get a load. The load I ended up grabbing is Tulsa to Chicago. Several reasons I picked this load. Chicago is a good freight area. In my opinion, there's 2 types of loads you take. You either take a good paying load, or you take a load that's going to get you to a good paying area. Now, there were okay paying loads. Do I still have it pulled up here? Oklahoma City? Yeah. These ones going to like Pottsville and York, Pennsylvania, these things pay decent. They pay about $1.50 a mile. They're not bad, but this is over in the I think it's the Pittsburgh area. Okay, so you have Philadelphia and you have Pittsburgh. I think it's Philadelphia. Is it Philadelphia? I think whichever one is over on the east, that is a bad freight area. The one over on the west is a good freight area. So western Pennsylvania is good freight, eastern Pennsylvania is bad freight. Both of these Pennsylvania loads are over in the east, the bad freight area, where you'd basically have to, you're not going to be able, you're going to have to find a load to get you to a good freight market. So it's not like it's a mediocre load that's getting you to a bad place where you're going to have to find a load to get you to a good place. So the load that I picked going to Romeoville is like $1.20 a mile. It's not as good as these Pennsylvania loads that are $1.50 a mile, but it gets me to a good freight area. So the loads coming out of that Pennsylvania, eastern Pennsylvania, most of them are really short runs, and the few that are decent miles are either the ones that pay decent are going deeper into the Northeast, into like New York City, New Jersey, Connecticut, Massachusetts, Baltimore. The ones that are getting you out of that area that are decent mileage and decent paying runs, like the rate per mile on those short mileage runs is really good, but the ones that actually pay a decent amount of money that have the miles in them plus the rate per mile, there's not really any of those. So you're getting something, you're back in like $1.40, $1.50 a mile to get out of that eastern Pennsylvania. So, I would be paid like $1.50 a mile to go into eastern Pennsylvania, and then like $1.50 a mile to get out of eastern Pennsylvania to get to someplace like Ohio. Whereas I can take this Romeoville, the Chicago load, and it's only paying $1.20 a mile, but coming out of there, it pays like $2 a mile, $1.90, $2 a mile. The specific load that I want to get pays $1.99 a mile, and it doesn't seem like it's too rare to get loads out of there that pay pretty damn good. So I'm going to just be on the lookout for, a good load coming out of there. There isn't anything that I want out of there right now. And it's another very active Kimberly-Clark location. So I should be able to get a load coming out of that exact same Kimberly-Clark where I'm not going to have any deadhead miles. I'm just going to be able to grab a load straight out of there, heading somewhere. Kimberly-Clark seems to be one of our biggest accounts. So what I'm going to try to do is, any loads I can get going from Kimberly-Clark to Kimberly-Clark, I'm going to do those. Because I know I'm going to be able to get a load coming back out of that Kimberly-Clark. What I need to do is figure out where all the Kimberly-Clarks are at. So I can just get, from Kimberly-Clark to Kimberly-Clark. They're not the best paying place, but it's the place where we have some of the most loads. This is what the load board looks like. These are the loads coming out of Oklahoma. Oklahoma's not a very good freight market. These loads are $1.20 to $1.50 a mile, ballpark. The information on the load board is not very good. So what I do is I copy this information and I paste it into Excel. And this all the way over to J, everything A through J, all of this is what I paste in. All of this, these are my formulas to give me the information that I want, the information that I want to pick the load, and that I wish was in the load board. I wish I could sort by rate per mile in the load board, but I can't. I have to transfer all the information into here and then sort by rate per mile. So these are all sorted by rate per mile. I was looking at California loads. There's some good paying loads in California. I was looking for stuff specifically going to the Lodi, California area. And anyway, that's a different thing. This one, I was looking at Marcy, New York to see what kind of loads I could get coming out of Marcy, New York. And Marcy, New York is not a very good place to grab a load from. The rate per mile on most things are pretty cheap unless you're going deeper into the east. Like here's one that's kind of most of the decent paying loads are New Jersey. So here's one that can get you over to Ohio that's paying $1.50 a mile. So Marcy, New York pays a premium because there aren't a whole lot of loads coming out of Marcy, New York that pay worth a damn. A lot of the loads are down here in the $1 a mile range, especially loads to get you out of the Northeast. The ones up here that are paying decent, these are just running you circles around in the Northeast. So if you want to do little short 300-mile runs in the Northeast, then you can get like, what is this, $2.30 a mile. This is the rate, this O right here, this rate per mile. This is what you make after the 65% cut and adding in fuel surcharge and all that. This is what I actually make per mile on the load. But this is how I look at the loads. Right now I'm looking for something, and I'm going to be looking for something coming out of Romeoville on the 1st to the 2nd. So something basically on the 1st. Because I'm going to deliver it on the 1st on Wednesday, and I want something that's coming out on Wednesday. I want something really close to Romeoville. I specifically want something out of that here's one going to Topeka, Kansas. That should be paying a lot more than that, because Topeka is a pretty bad freight area. Well, I guess it's not terrible. Topeka is pretty close to Kansas City, but it's not like a prime market that justifies this. It's only 530 miles, and it's a live unload the 3rd. It's a 2 days to do 500 miles. That's a terrible. Is this Kimberly-Clark? No. Oh, food ingredients, U.S. Food Service. You gotta be really careful with going grocery house. Okay, I'm starting to do that thing that I was doing on why I have stopped the last couple of videos, because I'll get in here and I'll just start looking through loads, and I will spend an hour just sitting here just looking at details on loads and looking at rates and stuff like that. But yeah, I've got like 4 days. Well, I've got until Wednesday of next week to find a load coming out of Romeoville. I'm picking up at a Kimberly-Clark in Tulsa and delivering to a Kimberly-Clark in Chicago. And there are a lot of loads coming out of that same Kimberly-Clark in Chicago, and they all pay pretty reasonable rates for that area. So I'm hoping to grab another load coming straight out of that Kimberly-Clark and heading off to someplace else. I'm hoping to get all my affairs in order at the house, which my list of crap to do up here. I'm hoping to get all my affairs in order. Whoa, what happened there? I think I hit some kind of button that automatically minimized everything. There we go. As a company driver, I did weekly home time. I don't necessarily want to be home every week. So as an owner-operator, I plan on only being home once every 2 to 3 weeks. Unless I just so happen to find a load that goes through my house. Like if I find a load going straight to Oklahoma City or through Oklahoma City, I am definitely going to swing by the house. But I'm not going to go out of my way to get home very often. Only about once every 2 to 3 weeks is when I'm going to try to do home time. If I haven't managed to get by the house in 2 to 3 weeks, then I'm going to go out of my way to try to get home. Now, the reason I did weekly home time as a company driver is so that they wouldn't drive me in circles up in the Northeast. Since I did weekly home time, if they ever got me a long ways away from my house, they immediately had to turn around and try to get me back to my house. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to get home on time. The reason I did that was because the very first thing that they did to me on my first load was send me up into New York. That pissed me off. I wasn't planning on doing weekly home time until that happened. And then I started really pushing the issue of weekly home time. Like, I liked the idea of weekly home time, but initially I was very cavalier about it, and I was just like, you know what, just get me home when you can, not a big deal. And then they started, getting me deep into the Northeast, and I was like, you know what, the way that I'm going to stop them from doing that is I'm going to start telling them that I need my home time every week, and I'm going to start pushing the issue on home time. And my first driver manager got pissed off when I did that, and that she started butting heads with me as part of the reason that I ended up getting, requesting to be moved off of her fleet. She didn't like that I was doing weekly home time because I'm sure it made her metrics look bad, because I live in a bad freight area in Oklahoma. So they have a lot of metrics, and the truck probably did not look very good on her metrics because of that. Even though somebody told me I was one of the top drivers in her fleet. Whenever I talked with the operations manager and requested to get moved off of her fleet, he told me that she is not going to want, she's going to fight to keep me on the fleet because, and he didn't want to remove me from the fleet because I was one of her top drivers. As far as metrics go, I made her look really good. I don't know why let's not talk about her anymore. I don't know why in the hell she was so mean to me, so rude. So anyway, yeah, I need to get all my stuff done. I haven't done anything in that list. Like, I haven't packed the truck. I haven't tested the inverter. I haven't gone shopping. I haven't done anything. Like, man, I have been sitting on my butt doing a whole lot of nothing for a week. Playing video games. Been playing a lot of video games. Oh man, these guys are over here. Playing in the acid pit. I need to change the route on this because they're too close to that acid. That's where my other character died. Can I... Wait a second. Let me pause this while I try and change this route. Alright, I got that edited. Sorry. So yeah, I've been playing video games and doing a whole lot of nothing. I've been getting a lot of phone calls because, like starting up a business, like so many damn people have my number now. Like the fuel card people, the tax people, USA Truck, the mechanics at the dealership got pissed off because I gave them a bad survey. Well, welcome to my fucking world. I'm pissed off at them too. Sorry about the language. I deleted a video because I was just like, every other word was a vulgar word. I'm trying to cut down on that. I'm making an effort. Sorry. Apologize. I'm not doing it because I'm like hoping to make YouTube happy or something. I just know that people don't want to hear that crap. And I have a bad habit. Whenever I get mad, whenever I get frustrated or irritated, I start being very vulgar. Because I think vulgar words are, it's a way of being, I don't know, it adds, I don't know. It's like really strong adjective is what it is. It's a way to show a strong expression. Well, it's an easy way to show strong feelings. But yeah, I have a ton of crap I need to do. Let's get off the video game here and show you something that you'd probably prefer. The load board information. So one of the things, if you notice, I had on the load board here earlier was I had information about California loads. USA Truck is an East Coast company, pretty much east of I-35. They don't hire west of I-35. I'm right on the border of where they hire. Oklahoma City is... I-35 goes through Oklahoma City. I technically live west of I-35 because I live on the west side of Oklahoma City. And they've always had issues getting me home because there's not a whole lot of freight that they have going into Oklahoma City or out of Oklahoma City. So I have to do a lot of deadheading when I was a company driver getting in and out of Oklahoma City. And I'm probably going to, as an owner-operator, I have access to pretty much the same loads, so it's probably going to be the same as an owner-operator. But they do have loads west of I-35. They have loads in California, Nevada, Oregon, Washington. They have loads all over the country. They have loads, I think, in Canada and Mexico as well. There are loads everywhere for USA Truck. So I've been looking at the other areas to see if I might want to potentially pull freight in these areas. And maybe I will, if I get bored and want to go driving to Nevada, go back to Nevada. I might head over to Nevada. I really miss I-80. I-80 across Utah and Nevada. It's a nice wide open stretch of road that I like. Northern Nevada I-80 is just wide open. It's awesome. Now, once you get over to the border between Nevada and California, once you get over to western Nevada, or you get over into the Salt Lake area, then you start running into some windy mountains. But that stretch of road in between Salt Lake and Reno, it's good road. And I miss driving out there on that. I don't even really mind driving across Donner, except it's like 100 miles of mountain pass that you drive through. The only thing that I've done remotely close to that was a week or two ago. I went through Virginia on, I think it was Interstate 64. I went across, I think it was the Appalachian Mountains, across the Virginias. I went through both. I think both Virginias, Virginia and what's the other one? West Virginia. And that was like 100 miles of mountains. That was the closest thing to Donner that I've been across since I got back into trucking. There were some decent grades through there, and I think if I remember correctly, I was pretty damn heavy. Yeah, I had paper rolls going through there. Now going in, I was light. Going out, I was heavy. But yeah, these are the, this is my spreadsheet and how I look at the rates per mile and everything. That's my rate per mile that I make on the load. And, there's decent rates that you can make here at USA. I still think that I could potentially average $1.70 a mile and 2,800 miles a week. I think that's still a possibility. It's going to be a little bit more difficult. The rates seem to be about 10% lower than they were when I looked at the load board in, this time, like spring of 2019. When most of my predictions and estimations and everything were made on spring of 2019, and the rates on the load board right now are about roughly 10% lower than what they were in spring of 2019. So it's not like a huge difference. So yeah, it's going to be a little harder to get $1.70 a mile, but I think it's still possible. Most likely I'll probably be able to get between $1.50 and $1.60 a mile. And if I try really hard, I'll be able to get $1.70 a mile or more. The $1.70 a mile that I predicted last year, based off of the rates that I saw on the load board at that time, that was going to be a pretty easy thing to get. As long as I didn't hang out in, cheap freight areas like Florida and Texas, as long as I, was running, in Atlanta, Chicago, Ohio, those areas that had really solid freight rates, as long as I was mainly running in those areas, I would be able to easily average $1.70 a mile. Now it's not going to be easy. It's going to be kind of tough to average $1.70 a mile, but probably still doable. Easy is probably going to be $1.50 a mile right now, which is still decent. It's not very good, but it's decent. But if this is as bad as it gets, then I can make a living at this. So I'm looking forward to getting back out on the road. I'm really dreading all of the crap that I need to do to get ready to get back out on the road. But in all honesty, I think I can do this entire list of stuff in about 6 hours. So I just need to get it done. And I'm planning on getting it done tonight and tomorrow, so that my last 2 days off, I'll be able to relax and completely de-stress without having to worry about doing all this shit at the last minute. So as soon as I stop this video, I'm going to go start working on this list and get my truck ready to go. I don't think I'm going to do any other. There's only 2 things left on the truck that need to be done, but they don't need to be done. The truck can work fine without them. One is the cab leans. I'm scared of getting an estimate from the body shop on what they're going to charge me to fix that. And then replacing the mirror. So after I run for a couple of weeks, what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and buy a mirror online, because I should be able to get one for between $150 and $400. The dealership wanted $1,000 for the mirror. I'm pretty sure I can get one online for between $150 and $400, and I'm probably just going to swing by a terminal and pay the terminal to install the mirror for me. If they won't do it, then I'll go to a TA and pay them to install it. The terminal pays, they charge $70 an hour, and they're very conservative with their time, because they don't get paid a percentage on what they bill me, the mechanics. The mechanics typically don't go crazy with the hours that they're charging me. Whereas TA, they're pretty reasonable on the hours they charge. They're very realistic. You get to these dealers, and they'll sit around and just like pimp walk around, and you have to be sitting there like hovering over them to get them to work the entire time that they're charging you, and they are really slow. TA is really quick, and they're fairly reasonable. So I'd be willing to pay somebody $100, $150 to install the thing rather than doing it myself, because I probably don't have all the tools necessary. I would have to go buy tools, and I don't want to deal with it. But I'm not going to pay the $1,500, $2,000 that the dealership wanted to install that damn thing. That's just crazy. Spending $200 for it and then $100 to have somebody install it, $300, that's reasonable. $2,000 is not reasonable. So I'm eventually going to get that mirror, the passenger mirror, replaced, because the antenna thing is broken on it. I'm pretty sure it was broken in the automatic truck wash that I went through at the Memphis terminal. The other thing on the cab lean, I'm hoping that the body shop doesn't give me some astronomical estimate, and that's something I can get fixed for like $500. They probably just have to, jack up the cab and, loosen whatever mounts hold the cab in place, realign it, and then tighten them back up. Pretty sure that's all they have to do. It's just going to be labor, and I'm hoping that they don't go crazy on the labor cost. The body shop that does this work is the same place where I park my trailer all the time, so I'm gonna see if I can get those guys to hook me up. Come on, man. So I'm hoping that they'll work with me on that, and I hope that they're reasonable. Once I have those 2 things fixed, I'm going to be stressing a lot less on the truck. To know that there's any issue with the truck really just kind of freaks me out. So I'm hoping to get those 2 issues resolved fairly quickly. I'll probably go out and run for about 2 or 3 weeks, and then when I come back from that, that's when I will probably try to get those two things done. Because I really don't like having any issues with the truck. It really, like, I think I might have a minor version of OCD, because there's certain things that really bug the hell out of me. I don't know how to describe it. Like, it's not like OCD where like everything has to be perfect. As you can see behind me, my room is very messy. But there are some things that, for reasons I can't explain, like if there's a picture on the wall that's tilted a little off, it'll just like drive me crazy. I won't be able to think about anything but that. Like the cab leaning a little to the left, like that's all I can think about. Like I'm not even in the truck right now, and that's all I can think about. The mirror, like having the huge antenna only on the left side mirror, that just, like, I keep wanting to take the antenna off the left mirror because it bugs me that I only have an antenna on one mirror. I don't know. Anyway, I'm hoping to get those two things resolved pretty quick. But yeah, I'm gonna start running really good this week, and I'll run. I plan on being out for a couple of weeks, and I should be able to get some data and get a good idea of what kind of money I can make out on the road, what's realistic, and then I can make other plans based on that. And that can help me. Like if I get out there and I find out that it's going to be really hard for me to make like $80,000 a year, then I'm going to get really tight with my budget, and I'm not going to get that cab lean fixed. I'm not going to get that mirror replaced. I'm just going to get really tight with my budget and try to squeak by until I can make better money. Because at $80,000 a year, that's not much more than I was making at my previous job. And whenever you consider in the possibility of a breakdown, that's about $10,000 a year more than I was making at my previous job. And that extra $10,000 can easily disappear if I ever have any major breakdown of any kind. One single breakdown, one tow, and that 10 grand is gone. So if I'm only like estimating that I'm going to make about 80 grand a year net as an owner operator, then I'm going to get really tight on my budget. But if it's looking like I'm going to make over 100,000, I'll get a little looser with my budget and get these things fixed, as long as they're only $1,000 or so. But I'm not going to be going and dropping 5 or 10 grand like I'm a big baller or something, because I'm not going to be making tons of money. And even at $100,000 a year, that doesn't give me a whole lot of wiggle room for breakdowns and unexpected issues. And I need to be saving up for my next truck. This truck is probably not going to last me more than about 2 years. I think it would be amazing if I could get 5 years out of this truck. I plan on keeping up with the maintenance and taking care of it like really good, with the hope that I can get 5 years out of it. But my expectation is that this thing may not last me more than 2 years. So I'm going to, try to put as much money aside as possible in preparation for probably having to buy another truck in about 2 years. But anyway, I'm going to start ranting and raving and rambling if I keep talking on here. That's what's going on. I'm going to be leaving on Monday. I might not make another video until I hit the road. While I'm driving down the road doing a whole lot of nothing. I don't have XM radio. There's not even an XM option on the radio in my truck. Like, there's not an XM mode. I guess the radio that was purchased with this one, it didn't even like XM isn't a thing on it. I don't know how to, I thought XM, apparently, whenever you buy a truck, the radio that you choose, it's the exact same radio that was in the Kenworth, but this one does not have the XM logo on it. And whenever you go through the sources, XM never shows up. I don't think, and I looked, and apparently you can buy the radio with different modes. And at time of purchase, you can choose if you want XM as part of the radio modes. So I don't think it's something that I can have turned on. I think I would have to replace the radio to get one that supports XM. I was planning on having XM radio, but I don't want to replace the whole head unit to do it. I guess I could get like an FM transmitter for XM or something, but I don't really like XM radio enough to probably bother with all of that crap. If it was something as simple as just activating a $5 a month subscription, then yeah, I'd do it. But buying a different head unit or equipment and mounting it up on the dash and all that crap, I don't know that I'm going to bother with all that stuff. So, I don't know. Well, I'll get it figured out. I have a ton of stuff I need to get figured out. But anyway, thanks for watching. Have a good one. Bye.